Bonjour, I'm Sandra from Les Fleurs. Today I'm creating a romantic late spring floral arrangement using peonies and other garden treasures freshly gathered from my own backyard. This is one of my favorite times of year. Everything feels soft, lush, and full of life. The garden is buzzing with energy and each bloom seems to whisper its own story. So let's begin, shall we? I always like to start with something wild and green, something that spills and softens. Here I'm using a beautiful clematis vine from my garden. It drapes so naturally over the edge of the urn, which I found in the French countryside. It's the kind of vessel that feels as though it belongs in an old chateau garden. Next, I'm adding in a few stems of spirea. This particular variety is called Bridal's Wreath, a name as lovely as the bloom itself. Its delicate white clusters in movement and lightness, like little clouds floating through the design. I feel that this brings this arrangement that romantic, unstructured look I love. I was lucky to find a few lilac blossoms still lingering on the bush this morning. They're in the softest shade of lavender, just enough to add contrast and whisper of fragrance. Their fleeting nature makes them feel even more special. To begin building height, I added my linear flowers, Baptista and Foxglove. Baptista's soft indigo buds mix beautifully with the tall, graceful spears of Foxglove. My foxgloves are blooming all throughout the garden, making for a beautiful display against the muted green lamb's ear. I pick them especially because they draw the eye upward and give the arrangement structure and scale, almost like the framework of a painting. And now, for the star of the show, my beloved peonies. I wait all year for these. Each variety in my garden has been selected with care to give me a range of shapes, colors, and bloom times. I'm starting with a deep pink peony, appropriately called Belleville, rich, saturated, and full of ruffled layers. I could begin with a few stems, but quickly realized I had to add all I picked, because the scale of the urn could handle them beautifully. Once they were secure, I turned my attention to a unique variety I grow called Blush Queen. Its petals are soft, airy, almost like silk. I love the contrast against the dark greenery and the deeper pink peonies. It softens the palette just enough, each one with its own personality. Some are more structured, more open and relaxed. I love the mix. With a few peonies in place, I stepped back to take in the shape. I also picked a few peonies that morning, so of course I had to include those as well. As a designer, I'm always looking for balance, what still might need to be added. So I added a bit more of greenery, letting it peek through to add softness and movement. I want this to feel as though it was gathered effortlessly from the garden in Provence. The last peonies I added are the largest and the deepest variety I grow. These beauties are called de Lauderdale, with just a hint of light of pink at the centers. They help me achieve the tone-on-tone palette I had envisioned. I wove them throughout the arrangement to give it the full, abundant look I was after. Their bold presence adds depth and drama, grounding the most delicate blossoms around them. I love how they seem to anchor the entire composition, luxurious, velvety, and unapologetically romantic. And yes, a few petals have already begun to fall. But that is the poetry of peonies. They remind us that beauty is fleeting. To add a little bounce and lightness, I tucked in a few stems of scabiosa in a soft lavender pink. Their airy heads dance above the denser blooms, catching the light in such a beautiful way. Of course, as a designer, we can never just not add one more bloom. And then, what a gift, my first garden roses of the season. They've just begun to open in the palest blush. Their gentle fragrance and soft petals add the final tender touch, bringing everything together in perfect harmony. And voila, as they say in French, c'est fini. Thank you for spending these quiet, creative moments with me in the shop today. I hope this little floral vignette inspires you to pause, breathe, and bring a bit of the outside in. Whether it's a single bloom in a bud vase or a full arrangement like this, flowers have a way of connecting us to the seasons and to the beauty. And if you're ever near the shop, please come by and say bonjour. There's always something blooming at Les Fleurs. Our petite French flower shop is always filled with stories, fragrance, joy. We hope you stop by. Merci.